Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Hey, Joyce, it's the moment we've been waiting for, our final Emmy predictions.
Not so final.
Final. This is it. You cannot make, if we do this, you're not making any changes.
But you will, though.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I'll be making changes up until the last minute. But Emmy nominations are next week, Joyce.
Yes, the 17th.
It's a week from today when we're recording this.
So it's still a lot of time for you to make changes.
A lot of time to make changes and convince myself of narratives and theories that don't exist in reality. So I'm very excited for that. But first, we're just going to go through all our picks. We'll start with comedy and just go down. What do you think?
I mean, how else will we do? I mean, we could do like the reality ones first.
You want to do that? Let's do that.
I mean, I haven't even looked at those.
I think that'll be fine to do first. So we're going to start with competition program, Joyce.
What if I just don't change anything here?
I mean, you don't have to, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. I'll just do these quick. So we're going to do competition programs, reality, I guess the talk, variety talk and stuff, all those different things. And then we'll do comedy, drama, and limited series. And then we have so many emails, Joyce, like a ton of emails.
Are they all about the bear again?
There's some about the bear. I'll tease one. Michael, our good friend, the game master, took.
Oh, does he have a new game?
Well, he does a little, but he took umbrage with something I said in the comments of the YouTube.
Oh, I don't know what you said because I don't read the comments.
I know, and so you're gonna have to. I'll
wow,
give you the context
what
later.
A tease!
It's great. So you got to keep
watching. People are just gonna skip to the questions now. They're not
2 hours from now. You'll get the answer to this because that's how long this stupid thing is gonna take, probably. All right. So competition program, Joyce. The top 5 in the odds are the top 5 in my picks, but I have the Traders winning for now. RuPaul, Top Chef, The Voice, and Survivor. Those are the top 5, and that's what I have.
I have Traders, RuPaul, Amazing Race, Top Chef, and The Boys. Should I change anything here?
I think you should go down with Tar. You love Tar.
I love Tar.
You love Tar, and you love Tar the movie, and you love Lydia Tar. We got to stick to this.
I mean, I've been covering Tar for like 17 years. Yeah. Me and Phil go way back, so
yeah. You got to stick with it.
So do I want to drop something else? Like, do I want to drop like Top Chef for Survivor? Survivor's come back last year.
I don't know. I feel like Top Chef. I don't know. I would say no. I think you should just stick with what you have.
I'll just keep it. Who cares?
For host, reality host Joyce, I have RuPaul, Alan Cumming, Queer Eye Guys, Nicole Byer, and Kristen Kish for Top Chef.
Oh, so you copied me.
I copied the odds. She's 5th in the odds. I just went with
because of me.
Maybe.
I don't know about changing anything either because like I have the top 5. Which I think is like because I put her in there, Kristen.
What would possibly?
She was very low when I added her.
She was low. Gordon Ramsay is 6th, Jeff Probst is 7th, Shark Tank host 8th, Mikey Day 9th, and Ryan Seacrest 10th. I don't know. I don't think any of these people are going to break in.
I don't know. I mean, like Jeff, a 4-time winner when the category was first introduced, and then they just dropped him like a bad habit.
They have never historically they don't go back once they drop something. I just feel like
they went back to Survivor, but like they have, I mean, they're also lazy in this category. So I could see like Traders winning series and RuPaul still winning this.
I feel like that will happen as well, but we'll see. We'll worry about that in phase 2, Joyce.
Okay, can I just we should take a moment of silence because this is the last like fun part of the season. Phase 2 is going to be very boring.
Okay. That's a good moment of silence for that.
Okay.
Variety talk series, Joyce. I went maximum chaos. So I have John Mulaney. John Mulaney presents Everybody's in LA, The Daily Show, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and Hot Ones.
I don't know what to do here because I have the top 4, which is like super boring, which is like Daily Show, Colbert, Jimmy, and Seth. So I think I'm going to keep Daily Show because it's Jon Stewart back. And had won last year with Trevor.
I actually think it could win again this year.
Yes, because like John is back and it's election,
Yes.
So then I'm like, I feel like I need to get Mulaney and Hot Ones in there. And then I'm partial to Seth, so I don't want to drop him, even though I feel like he's the weakest.
I kept Seth because I was like, he might be the weakest, but of all these guys, he was the one out there the most this year.
He's always out there the most. He tries so hard.
He tries really hard. And I was like, I think in terms of Kimmel and Colbert, I don't know. I mean, like, it could just be laziness and they'll just chalk and put them in. But I feel like there wasn't a lot of buzz for either of those shows this year. And the Colbert one, I feel like, I don't know. Do people still like that show as much? Does it even matter?
I don't
Like, that might
know.
be the other
Like
thing.
it's weird because it's like obviously he's one with Colbert Report.
Yes.
So, and then when he started Late Show, people thought like, especially the first year, people felt like, oh, he can definitely win this, right? And he didn't. And then like last year too, when they punted late last week tonight to scripted variety. So it was like, open season for these guys here. And Daily Show won.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like he won for Colbert Report because it was still, it was just an offshoot of Daily Show. And
I think yes. The other thing I was thinking was if I had to pick between Colbert and Kimmel to put one of these in instead of the four I have, excuse me, I would actually pick Kimmel because I do think there is a home field advantage to Kimmel being an LA guy with like all his famous friends. And Colbert is not in that group. He's not in the clique. He's a New Yorker.
but Jimmy's also like he has the seniority here. He has the longest nom streak here, obviously, because the show is the oldest here. So I don't know, but like Colbert also won the variety special thing for the 2020 election. Remember?
But that was
So
a special. I feel like that's
I know.
different.
So it's like
It
I don't know.
if I
I
had
don't
to
know who to drop.
if I had to put one, I mean, Seth probably would make sense, but I'm going to stick with him. Hot Ones, I feel like could get in because it's like this big thing, but I'm also like, is it actually like something the Emmy voters would care about? And would they even consider it as, I mean, like, can you really compare Hot Ones to what Kimmel does? I don't know.
Well, I feel like if it didn't have the Conan episode this year, I wouldn't really think that much about it,
Yeah. But
you
maybe
know?
that one episode could push it in.
Yeah. And then it's also a reminder. I think like the fact that it was Conan, a former talk show
Yep.
host,
Yep. Gives it
an
the
icon, a
imprimatur of
legend,
like,
the
like,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think that. And Mulaney, I feel, and so Mulaney's fifth in the odds. I feel like he could win this, if not for the Daily Show. And I think it's like going to be locked. I think he'll definitely get in, personally.
Okay, I'm gonna drop Colbert and Jimmy. So I'm gonna get this completely wrong.
So I have the same, you're going to get it the same wrong as me. Yes, I love that. Let's do it. I think Jimmy, if I had to rank them, I actually think Jimmy would get in over Seth, but I'm going to keep Seth in because
It just sucks
the
it lost the
campaigning.
spot. I would feel better if it was still 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll get this. I'll get like 1 out of 4 here.
Same. Scripted series we could take all 30 seconds to do. It's 2 nominees. I have Last Week Tonight and Saturday Night Live.
Okay, moving on. Bye.
Okay. Animated program. I have the top 5 in the odds, but I have X-Men 97 winning. Simpsons is number 1. I have Simpsons, Rick and Morty, Bob's Burgers, and Blue Eye Samurai.
Same. I also have X-Men in first.
I think X-Men will win in the end.
It should. I still haven't watched anymore, but I love X-Men.
Great. All right. So we did that. Now we're going to go to the comedy series categories, Joyce. We spent so much time talking about this. It's so weird to be like, these are our final picks, but I guess they are. Final until we talk about it in our column on Friday and then change a bunch of things. And then
I mean, well, for this category, I probably won't change anything. So I haven't changed anything in like 4 months.
So I've now added a different one to 8, but I have the top same 7 probably that you do. So I'll go. I have The Bear, Hacks, Abbott Elementary, Only Murders in the Building, Curb Your Enthusiasm, What We Do in the Shadows, The Gentleman, and yes, I'm going with Girls 5 Eva in the last spot.
Because of those 2 ballots from like 24,000.
Here's why, not just because of those 2 ballots, but I do think, here's what I was thinking. I think those 2 ballots in a vacuum mean nothing. They mean nothing, but I think it's indicative or illustrative.
Those 2 ballots from like 2 weeks ago, if people missed that episode,
Yes.
I had 3 anonymous
Yes.
ballots from my friends, and
Yes.
2 of them voted for Girls 5 Eva.
I think it's illustrative of something that I was like wondering, and maybe I'm just like thinking too much about this, probably, yes. But I was like, I think a lot of people, everybody can vote for everybody votes for program, right? Like, and also not everybody has seen everything, but everybody watches Netflix. And I think if you're going to fill out your ballot, you probably watched Girls 5 Eva, even if it wasn't like a huge breakout. and you might be like, I at least am aware of Girls Five Eva, and maybe if you're not like super plugged in, you don't even know what Palm Royale is or Reservation Dogs. Maybe you haven't seen that. And so I was like, I just think the Netflix of it would help for Girls Five Eva in the end, and it could get in over like a lot of these other shows, all of which maybe could get it. Like, I mean, like Reservation Dogs is 8th, Palm Royale 9th, Gentleman is 10th somehow in the odds. But I was like, I think those Netflix shows have the leg up, and I think they're going to get it in. And they've campaigned it actually, even if it didn't get like the big boost that we were expecting. So I'm going to stay with Girls Five Eva.
I can't believe you dropped Colin from accounts.
Not really. Outside of like Gold Derby, I can't imagine anybody has talked about it. So
No, but you know, as usual, you're very high on it for about 10 days. So
yeah.
typical
That's
Chris.
how I roll.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
I just had my usual 8.
Yeah.
The Bear, Hacks, Abbott, Murders, Curb, Shadows, Gentlemen, Res Dogs.
I feel like we'll get 7 of the 8, and I think whatever the 8th one is, I think will maybe be neither of these shows, and maybe something we haven't even thought of. I don't know.
I'm just not gonna bother trying to figure out what it is. So I'm just gonna stick with Res Dogs.
And
here.
while I think phase 2 will be boring, I do think this will be more competitive than maybe we thought. I hope.
I mean, if Hacks somehow wins, you
Would be
know how much that
amazing.
would thrill me.
It would be the best, because it was the best. The best thing this year on TV was Hacks season 3.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of 2024.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll see. It was very good. It was as good as Succession was. So maybe you're right.
I mean, like what was better than Succession last year?
Not a single thing.
After Succession.
Nothing.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
Hacks has a very like there. It would have to, something would have to really clear a very high bar for it to beat Hacks season 3. Nothing has yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I never had Palm Royale in here, so I'm not gonna go to it now. And it wasn't like a huge hit or anything. So I did have Girls Five Eva before it arrived on Netflix. And then it underperformed, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It still doesn't have art.
No, yeah. You and I talk about this a lot. Like when you go on Netflix, this is consumer facing Netflix. It's just the title card. It's just like Girls Five Eva
Never
spelled
even
out.
bothered.
No art.
No thumbnail.
No thumbnail. Because like when I first watched the screeners, I was like, oh, they haven't added the art yet, but they just never did.
Now, do you think that's because our account? This is the one thing I was wondering. We both watch the screeners. Pulling back the curtain, Joyce. Netflix gives elites like us a preview content, and in that preview content, they throw their things, and you punch in a PIN number, and you can watch this shit on Netflix via Netflix.
Yes.
It's actually the best.
It's a great system.
Any other company that does not do this should do this, because it's so annoying to have to go to like separate websites. And Apple's is actually quite good too. They have like a really
I
good
like
interface.
Apple's.
But outside of Apple and Netflix, everyone else is bad at this. Anyway, Netflix, and so you watch it on there. So in the preview content, it just had the black and white, like Girls Five Eva, like word, nothing, no, not even a logo, just the word. But that's how like Bridgerton looked for season 3.
But they eventually added.
But they did eventually add
all those other shows, yeah, because like I've seen this before. I've seen this movie before, and they eventually add the art.
So they haven't added the art, but I'm like, is it a user? Do we need to clear the cache or something? I don't know.
No, because it's been months.
If anybody out there is watching this and has Netflix, tell me if there is a thumbnail for Girls Five Eva on your Netflix.
Because we just get a black background and white text.
Anyway, I just think Netflix will get 2 shows in, and I think that could. I really do. I think they'll get in. I don't know. I mean,
I would love it because I love Girls Five Eva. It deserves better.
Like Girls Five Eva. I'm going to say this like in the nicest. I like the show too, so I'm going to say the nice way. Girls Five Eva flopped in terms of its expectations going to Netflix. But I still have to imagine it was way more watched than Reservation Dogs or Palm Royale.
I mean, that's probably true. But that also depends on like how many voters watch and care about it.
True.
So also, it's like it could be like watched by just the general public, right?
Sure. I also wondered if since Netflix did the smart thing in terms of its service of putting the whole series on, if people watch the whole thing, maybe they're just thinking they're voting, like they don't even like what they're voting. Like season 3 was not as good as season 2 or 1, but it was still good. But I'm like, if you watch the whole thing, you're going to be like, oh, that show's great, and maybe you just vote for it anyway.
I wonder if they made a miscalculation, not I mean, this could be contractual, so they maybe couldn't, but I feel like maybe they should have added seasons 1 and 2 before March 14th, which is when all 3 seasons premiered. And I feel like if people had the runway, like, you know, like 2 months or something to watch seasons 1 or 2, and then they could promote like season 3 coming March 14th, they could watch those 2 and they'll get more excitement for it.
I think that could have been good. Or
So
what
I
if
feel
they
like
would've-
maybe with like all, I understand why, and again, it could be contractual with like Universal and Peacock and everything that they couldn't get
Probably.
all 3 until March 14th. But yeah, I don't know. Like maybe it was just like maybe people felt like it was like too cumbersome, like 3 seasons, even though it's not that many episodes. But
what
I don't know.
or maybe waiting on season 3 a little.
Yeah,
Putting the first 2 up on March 14th and then season 3 like
or maybe like they
May
watched
1st.
and then I don't know. But it's like
anyway, I got it in. We'll see. I think I'm wrong. I don't think if Reservation Dogs got in, I would be thrilled. And
I mean, you know, I felt better about Reservation Dogs in February when John Landgraf was here. I'm back at TCA, but when he was here at Winter TCA, he was lamenting Res Dogs' lack of not just Emmy, but just like general award success, even though it's done better outside of the Emmys. And he said they were gonna mount a big campaign for it, and I don't really feel like they've done that. Like it's like all Shōgun.
It feels like it is all Shōgun.
You know,
Again,
and then they don't have to do anything for the bear, but the bear is just there.
Right.
So, but like it does have, you know, prestige, and you know, like J. Smith Cameron, she thinks it's a great shoe.
Yeah.
So
for best comedy actress choice, I have Jean Smart, Iowa Debris, Quinta Brunson, Maya Rudolph, and this will make the Selenators happy. I did put Selena Gomez back in for Only Murders in the Building.
Were you bullied?
I wasn't like directly bullied, but I felt bullied, so I put her in.
So
there you go.
Spineless.
It's completely spineless.
I have Jean, Io, Quinta, Maya, and Kristen Wiig. I don't know about that, but I also don't know about Selena.
I don't know about Selena either. We've talked about this a lot. She can't get in this year. She'll obviously never get in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels like it's ripe for her to get in this year because it's a very thin category. No disrespect to any of the other lovely actresses here. But yeah, I'll stick her in. I think Maya should get in also over Kristen, but I just think Loot is more accessible than Palm Royale. It was an easier watch. It's a real comedy. And so while Kristen is really good on the show, they could both get in, like you have them both in. I think if I had to pick one, I would pick Maya.
What if neither of them get in? What if they're just two like low profile Apple shows, and like it could be Selena and then like who else?
Renee Elise Goldsberry.
Oh my, from your lips.
Like I feel like if it's not one of these two Apple shows, Palm Royale a new show, Loot not a new show, but I feel like it was a new show because the season 2 is like it felt like a different show. They clearly like guided it into the right direction and found the right frame for the show. Yeah, I don't know. I would go Renee because of Netflix again. I don't know. I'm like the other in the odds. It's like Devery Jacobs for Reservation Dogs, which would make sense if it gets in for series. I think Harriet Dyer for Colin from Accounts.
Renee you had Once Upon a Time.
Yes. Renee for Girls Five Eva. Sarah Bareilles for Girls Five Eva. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, this is like Selena's time to get in, and she like the thing is like we don't know how close she's been the last 2 years. Like she could have just missed, right? Like the one slot out. So it may just be that she needs the category to empty out, which it didn't really do this year because you got Io coming in and Gina's back, right? But we did lose, you know, people from last year. So, and she is like, her show is bigger than Loot and Palm Royale combined.
That's kind of why I went back there. Like we've said a lot. I feel like certainly they like at Only Murders. They don't love it, right? Because it's not winning anything, and maybe it'll never really win significant awards. But I think they like it enough, and it's clearly like the one they've seen. So I was like, if she can't get like over Loot and like they've definitely seen the show, would they completely reject her? She is quite good on it, and like I don't know. I don't know if she can't get in this year, she will never get in. But I guess I'm gonna say she'll get in this year.
Yeah. I mean, I had her for a while and then I just don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like, don't you feel like when time goes by, you feel less confident about certain things, even though
Yeah. I was
like
like, I watched. Did you watch her on when Martin Short is hosting Kimmel?
that
Did you
was
see
great.
that?
That was when she kissed him after
And
doing his makeup.
if
That was so cute.
I was like, if this happened during voting, I think she would easily get in because I just feel like it was such a great platform for her and such a way like to promote her, for Martin to promote her in a way that maybe they have never even successfully done before, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, I like that Martin Short was like, oh my God, I heard Selena Gomez, and I was like, this is gonna suck. And then you were so nice, like that kind of stuff. I was like, this is like really good, basically. So I was like, too bad this didn't run during voting,
It
but
was so cute. I know. They always do things like after voting closes. Remember when they dropped season 2 right
I
after
know. It was like,
voting
oh, and I
closed?
know that's like because it can't, like, you can't like make
Yeah,
that
Jimmy
work
went
for.
on summer vacation, so they got Martin
But
to
oh my
get
God, it
him.
was so good. I was like, this is great, and I was just
Yeah.
like, so maybe she'll get
It was
in.
probably my outside of the Jiminy Glick stuff, it was probably my favorite interview. Like I think like the Steve stuff, it's like we've seen them do that kind of stuff
Yeah,
before. Jane Lynch was fine.
yeah,
Melissa, like that was Jiminy, so whatever. But yeah,
yeah,
the Selena one was really cute.
really good. Uh, for comedy actor choice, this one is much easier. I feel like we both have the same five and have had it for 3 months. But I have Jeremy Allen White, Martin Short, Larry David, Steve Martin, and Theo James for The Gentleman.
I've had this for 4 months. I'm not changing this. I don't care if it's wrong. It doesn't matter. I'm
If
not
it's
changing
wrong,
this.
what is wrong?
Um, Theo, I guess, is the obvious choice, but I mean, like Larry didn't get in last time, but it like it's the same thing. It's like who else would get in before? I guess like Kelsey's in 6, Kelsey Grammer.
Does Steve get back in?
I mean, if he doesn't get it back in this year, then he's never getting back in.
And then who
Like,
would get in? Kelsey, Jarrell Jerome for I'm a Virgo is 7th in the odds. Dafara Wunatai for Reservation Dogs. Patrick Ramal for Colin from Accounts.
yeah, I don't know who else. I'm just gonna stick with this 5.
There's a world where Reservation Dogs gets series, actress, and actor because I think there is room in the bottom of these categories for it to do well in the beyond series, right? You know what I mean? Like where these actors get in, it's like a perfect storm of, like we said, like not a lot of depth, and actors who have not gotten, not like Steve Martin and Larry David are just like maybe they're not, is there a lot of enthusiasm for them anymore or at all? So I could see it getting like 3 major nominations right off the top here, but I'm also like not predicting it because I don't know if they're, like you said, it just felt like there wasn't anecdotally maybe, or just in reality, there wasn't a lot of like attention paid to this show outside of like its fans.
I I also would feel so much better if they didn't oversubmit in writing because it feels like a classic series and writing
Yeah. Yeah.
nominee,
Yeah.
so um but I don't think I'll predict it for any acting. I think
I won't either, but
so.
I'm just saying, like, if it happened, would you be totally shocked? I don't think so.
No. Um but it could also kind of be like Shadows too, because that just kept hitting series and writing and none of
Yep.
its
Yep.
actors
Yep.
had been getting in. So
Yeah. Comedy supporting actress choice. This one I'm going down with a chaos again. But I have Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, Eliza Colon Zayas for The Bear, Abby Elliott for The Bear, Shirley Ralph for Abbott, Lisa Ann Walter for Abbott, and Meg Stalter for Hacks.
so you don't have Janelle James
I
or
dropped
Meryl.
Janelle James and I dropped Meryl Streep.
Okay. I just have the top 6, which is those 2 plus the other 4.
So I put Lisa Ann and Megan. I feel like this is a hope diction for Meg Stalter, but I actually think it's a multiple coattail nominee. Like, I think Paul W. Downs is in. It's hard to separate her from Paul because they're so great together. This was the best season of Hacks yet. I think anecdotally, like, doesn't it just feels like people really, really love this season of it. And if there was ever a time for her to get in, uh, it would be now. And she's series regular, obviously, now as well for the 3rd season. So I don't know. I just am like gonna hope Dick that because I think she would be very deserving as a nominee because Kayla was such a hilarious presence in this season, and they gave her a little more depth too. And then for Lisa Ann Walter, similarly, I was like, I think if you watch Abbott and you're a fan of that show and you're ranking and you're forced to rank Shirley Ralph, Lisa Ann Walter, and Janelle James, you would put Janelle James third of those three. And so if multiple people do that, maybe Lisa Ann Walter gets in.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we talked about a possible Janelle snub a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because that's when you first floated it.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it.
I'm just gonna predict the snubs. I'm predicting these snubs. I'll get 4 out of 6. The other 4 I feel very confident in, so I know I'll get 4 out of 6.
Yeah, because like Janelle, I can see the snub happening, but I could also just see her just being like a habitual vote for voters, and
definitely.
she's also like even though Ava didn't get much to do this season, like she is still like the quote funniest character, right?
And she's great.
So,
it's not like she's any, the thing is like I would say, it's not like she did anything. It's not like she was worse as an act. You know what I mean? Like she's still great in the character. I just think in the material this season, I think Lisa Ann Walter had more stuff to do, basically.
she did. Although we've also talked about this, it kind of dipped by the end of the season because they had to get Janine and Gregory together. So they forgot about everyone else.
Everyone's super invested in that.
Yeah. Great stuff there. I don't know. I mean, I have like Meryl in 6th, so I would probably remove her first. And then it's also like I can see the coattail for happening for both like Hacks and the Bear, because you also had Molly Gordon multiple times.
I did. I just was like, we'll talk about this with the actors too. I wonder how much does it matter that the character is not liked, rightly or wrongly.
I guess we also don't know. I mean, Claire Bear is not liked by most fans, but I wonder if that is the same sentiment within the industry. Like I feel like that's something they may not even care about. Like they just like the show, and like Claire might not be their favorite character. But it doesn't matter.
And Molly Gordon also has like a lot of famous friends, which maybe helps.
So like do you see like the Bear maxing out in acting this year? Because she would, if she gets in, that would definitely be maxing out.
I'm not sure. I guess I could see it happening, but I don't know. It depends on how much they really love the show. Obviously, if they love it, they'll max out here and they'll max out in acting.
Like, will it be like Succession and a Succession explosion?
It could, and then she would get in. I thought that she would get in for a while, like you said. I had her in there in like my last spot, but I switched to Meg just because I was like, and I just think that I feel like Paul is really set and they're like a double act. So I feel like if you're going to nominate one, you really do have to nominate the other, but maybe that's overthinking it.
I mean, yeah, but that also doesn't mean they'll both get in because it's different competition in each category. So, I don't know. I think with Molly too, she feels like she is just a guest star. She's just ineligible for guests. So I wonder if that is
a factor
when someone just feel like Meryl too, like they just feel like a recurring guest star, right?
Does it matter? That do you need a memorable, like for a supporting, do you need a memorable moment? Like Meryl has very memorable moments on Only Murders. So saying this, I understand that like she could most likely would get in, and obviously she's second in the odds. Molly Gordon does not have a lot of memorable moments on The Bear. In fact, I would say she's better in the 3rd season, or has more memorable stuff to do in the 3rd season that we just watched than she did in the 2nd season when she was in more episodes. So I was like, and Meg Stalter, I feel like does have like a lot of memorable moments too. And so I was like, does that matter at all? But you're saying it could just be that they love The Bear so much that it's just going to be just writing everybody in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like she could be like, A Scars, who was obviously a recurring guest star in Succession. Yes. and was getting in, but like we already knew like Succession already exploded with acting at that point.
And
And
she has
like that
more to
is
do.
a major part. That's a bigger part
Yeah.
than Claire Bear.
Yeah.
Or she could be like Holly Hunter on Succession, who did not get in, right? Also recurring guest star, ineligible for guest. A foil that season for the Sibs.
Yeah.
And but that was also for season 2 when the show went from 0 to 9 acting nominations.
Yes.
So I don't know, maybe it'd be different if she were on a later season and they were just, nominating actors left and right. So, but yeah, I think like both Holly and Askars had a lot more to do on Succession than Molly did on The Bear. So I feel like she would be kind of like a definitive coattail. No offense to her.
This is
Um,
why I'm not. This is why I feel really confident about Meryl snub, and which is I'll eat these words in a week when like she's obviously nominated. But I'm like, I just think there's so much more interest. Like, there's such a deep like you have the Bear and Abbott and Hacks all have legitimate contenders there for that last spot in theory. Even though I'm predicting like a Janelle James snub as well. But I'm like, they're like, I think all of those would be better than or better bet than Meryl because like they're like like Molly Gordon would get in over Meryl because if they're just going down the Bear list and we know the restricted ballot actually doesn't matter and they're like still going to pick the shows they like the Bear more than and then Only Murders. No disrespect to Only Murders, so like why would Meryl get in over someone on the Bear when they're just going to be like Bear, 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 Bear? I don't know.
or can Meryl just be like, when she and Laura Dern both got in for Big Little Lies and no one really liked season 2,
But
you know?
different category, you know what I mean? Like what was the competition
But
like here?
I mean, that was well, Julia Garner won.
Right.
I mean, it was also a bigger category. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, her and it was the Crown ladies for season 3. So Helena Bonham Carter. Who else got in that year? I think Fiona Shaw got in that year. But it's like, it like even though like Big Little Lies like season 2 flopped, it was just like, oh, she can still get in. So it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
like Murders did not flop, obviously.
No, no.
So
It could get like if she got in, obviously, I would not be surprised. But I just think I don't know. I'm gonna stick with like the shows they like and the people on those shows that I think deserve to get in. We've seen that sometimes that actually does matter. So, like,
what about Allison Janney and Carol Burnett, who are 7th and 8th?
I mean, Carol Burnett has the Meryl Molly Gordon thing where she's a glorified guest star, basically. And Allison Janney, I think, is overpredicted because she's Allison Janney. No disrespect. She's great. And she's actually good on Palm Royale, but no, I don't believe that. If that gets in, that means Palm Royale did. If they both get in, Palm Royale's in for series and Kristen Wiig, and it'll do really well. And it'll be like a surprise, like, oh my God, Apple really did it.
Yeah, I never had either of them.
No.
They feel like kind of like red herrings, no offense to them, but it feels like if you were just like a casual who was predicting the Emmys, you'll see their names and be like,
Yep,
oh, they'll get in for sure.
definitely. Supporting actor, Joyce. This one, I think we have the same 6. I have Evan Moss Backrack, Oliver Platt, Paul W. Downs for Hacks, Tyler James Williams for Abbott, Lionel Boyce for The Bear, Maddie Matheson for The Bear.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking of, this is what I wanted to bring up. This is what I was thinking of. As it turns out, based on season 3, people don't like the facts. I love the facts. They're not liked. And that means people don't like Maddie Matheson. And is that something that like won't affect obviously season 3 has no bearing on the nominations, but is it possible that like we're overestimating Maddie Matheson because in general people just don't like the facts, find the character annoying, and like would he actually get in as like a 4th of 4 Bear acting nominees here?
I don't think it's that they don't like the facts. Like people just don't like so many facts. I think a little fact goes a long way. It was just
Okay.
an overindulgence in facts in season 3 at the expense of other characters and plot momentum and storytelling. So it was just like they were leaning really heavily on the facts for comic relief. And they were in unnecessary scenes. Like I mean, I think the only time we see Claire in the present in season 3 is when the facts visit her in the hospital, right? Like for an extended scene besides like those like when she's like checking her phone, you
I
know,
feel
in like
like
the premiere,
yes. I feel like
right? Like if you
yeah.
ignore all those like flashes and stuff, but like for an actual scene, like I think that's the only time we
It
see
is.
her in the present, right? So I'm like that scene does not need to exist at all. Like if Carmi is not gonna call or apologize, then like don't have it in here. Like we don't need to see the facts like doing this on his behalf. And then like we also don't need to see the facts visiting Jamie Lee Curtis in the hospital after Abby Elliott gives birth. Like where the fuck is everyone else? It seems like no one cares about that baby. It's like we don't like that could have ended with Jamie in the waiting room by herself. We didn't need them coming in. So I think it's like stuff like that that people don't like. So I
So
don't, and obviously it doesn't affect season two because they kept fact at a minimum in season two.
but I guess what I mean is like I think the idea is like if you're talking to a fan, my impression having now seen the discourse bombs, is that like people just don't like those characters, and maybe I was overestimating Maddie for this past season just because. So I guess like I'm still going to have him in, but I'm like if he missed for like Bowen Yang or Paul Rudd or Carl Clemens Hopkins, I guess I wouldn't be
I mean, like he's
surprised.
definitely the weakest of the four bears
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
obviously. But I don't. It's like here's the thing: last season, no one was complaining about the facts, right? No one. It's just this
I mean,
season, but and it's this season because there were too many facts.
so I guess what I'm saying is though, like even if no one was complaining about them this season, they are because there were quote too many facts. I disagree with that, but sure, I could accept that there are a lot of facts this season compared to season two. But like, does that just no one was complaining about it because they didn't need to? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. Was like nobody needed to complain about it because it wasn't something to complain about. But if you're watching the show, you're just like, this character sucks, but he's not in it that much, so it doesn't matter. And then like, is he being over predicted then for this season? Like, is the backlash not just because there was too many, but because for the whole time you're just like these characters are annoying, but it doesn't impact my enjoyment of the show because they're not in it that much.
No, I think it would just this might affect your viewing going forward for season four after having
Certainly,
consumed these two
yeah,
seasons. But if we're
certainly,
just going back to before June 26th,
right.
like when people have just seen the
They
first
just
two
would be like,
seasons,
write it in. It doesn't
it's
matter.
just like you just
Okay.
have, I mean, I think it was an appropriate amount of facts for the first two seasons, especially season two. And I think the way he was used, and I mean, I don't even know how, like, do these people rewatch The Bear? Like they watched this a year ago.
No way. I don't
I don't
think
know.
so.
It's
I think they're just
like
like, oh,
his,
he's great. Fine. Write him
yeah,
in.
like I
I
think
mean,
he
we
had
have him
some,
in.
he has like, several like funny scenes with Evan in season
He
two,
does.
right?
He's really
It's
good.
like,
You know, he's great. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. Like he's probably like still the funniest part of season two. Like as like, the
Certainly.
season three, they certainly make more attempts at humor with the facts, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the funniest definition, funniest season by that definition. But yeah, I think like there were no complaints about them last season because it's like, oh, like this is just, like the funny guy in the show.
Right.
And I enjoy seeing him banter with Richie
With
every
Richie.
now and
Right.
then.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I
So
have him in. I guess, like you said, I think he's definitely fourth of the four, though.
yeah, because like he's also like he has the least character development of, I mean, there's like you know more about Cicero
No,
and he gets
nothing about.
moments,
Yeah.
right?
No, nothing about this guy. Uh,
Yeah.
if he was gonna miss, obviously, like somehow, I mean, like it's hilarious to me that Paul W. Downs is still not. He's like seventh in the odds. That is just crazy talk to me. But what are
Do
you
you
gonna do?
think people think they already have him in, but they actually have Paul Rudd in?
Maybe I have no idea. Possibly. I'm like if he does like this is like he's got. I actually think he would be competitive. I think he's not gonna win, but like I think he's like top three in terms of win. I think he's more win competitive than Tyler James Williams. So I don't
I
know.
I feel bad for Tyler because I feel like his window to win has closed. Like he should have won for
Yeah.
like season one.
I guess if Maddie missed, I would say Rudd would be the obvious pick, but I think actually Bone Yang would get in because I think they're gonna go back. I think SNL was on a bit of an upswing and like he is very liked, so I think that would help.
Yeah, I would lean like Bowen and Carl Clemens Hopkins
Same. Carl Clemens Thomas would be like
before
a
Rudd.
coattail nominee, right?
Yeah. So I
Um,
mean, it sucks I lost a spot here,
yeah,
these categories.
yeah.
So
For guest actress, Joyce, this one I have the top six in the odds, so not much different from everybody else. I have Jamie Lee Curtis for The Bear, Caitlin Olsen for Hacks, Olivia Colman for The Bear, J. Smith Cameron for Hacks. Oh no, I don't have top six. Sorry, Helen Hunt for Hacks and Maya Rudolph for Saturday Night Live. So I have Helen Hunt as my outlier. She's actually seventh in the odds. Excuse me.
I have JLC, Caitlin, Olivia. JSC, Helen, and Jane Addams for hacks. So I'm just
Nice.
all bear, all hacks.
I I know you're out on SNL. I feel like they're gonna get back in with a couple of these guest categories, but
I'm just
if they
gonna
don't,
ignore SNL in the
yeah,
guess. I don't care if it's wrong. I'm just gonna ignore them.
it,
I'm gonna apply what happened to Succession in the Last of Us in the guest categories last year
smart.
to the Bear and Hacks this year.
So no Sarah Paulson for you though.
No.
She's the popular pick, more so than Jane Addams, who's a past nominee here for Hacks.
We've discussed this before. I would rather nominate Sarah for Mr. and Mrs. Smith than the Bear.
And I will be later nominating her for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And hilariously, she's funnier on Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the drama category. Certainly, she's
Yeah.
hilarious in that episode than she is on Hat and the Bear. Excuse me, where I don't really remember outside of her brief conversation with Carmi. She really has not much to do in that episode. Even Mulaney has more to do.
No. It also cracked me up how they got John Mulaney back for season 3 just to like lay blankets on Jeremy Allen White, and they couldn't get Sarah because she was on Broadway.
I was going to say, like, they shot
Yeah.
this in Chicago or even LA when they did that scene, and like
Yeah.
Sarah on Broadway. So we
Let's
know the
just do like
character's
15
there.
takes of you putting
Yeah.
blankets and like spraying like
You
aerosol.
smell
in the
like a
room.
donkey. That's my John Mulaney impression. You smell like a donkey. Whatever. Jamie Lee Curtis obviously will win for this. Though if I had my druthers, I think I would say she's better in season 3 than she was in season 2 of The Bear. And Caitlin Olsen probably could win for Hack season 3, but she won't. So what are we gonna do?
Yeah, Caitlin has the actual comedic performance, but this is not, the category is guest actress in a comedy series.
So
It's
can we
not
get
the most comedic
right?
performance. So
Can we get Jamie Lee a Grammy and a Tony, Joyce? I guess I would ask.
she's probably working on it.
She could
So
easily get the Grammy.
I mean, she's written a ton of books. Just, the G's
Re-record
right
one.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy guest actor. I've got John Bernthal for The Bear. I have Ryan Gosling for Saturday Night Live. Bob Odenkirk for The Bear. Christopher McDonald for Hacks. Will Poulter for The Bear. And Hal Linden also for Hacks.
I have Bernthal, Christopher McDonald, Will, Bob, Mulaney, and Christopher Lloyd. So again, all Bear, all Hacks.
So it's funny that Christopher Lloyd and would make more sense maybe, but I was like, Hal Linden is great and obviously a TV legend, and I just was like, what if he just gets in on that?
I put Christopher Lloyd in here because Robert Townsend was not submitted for The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed a replacement. So I was like, I'll just put Chris in. That's it. That's my reason.
That's fine. I think, and I have Gosling, which I know you don't have. I guess if I was going to drop Gosling, I would put Mulaney in for The Bear. I do think that Bear and Hacks will dominate this, but I think the SNL hosts who were the most prominent this season will get in. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I'm willing to take the L on the SNL people. So I don't see, like, I feel like people are really obsessed with getting all of these things right. Like, I don't care if I miss.
I'd rather get wrong and be right on my fucking Hail Marys than get it all right.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like the obvious
I don't care that I miss Ryan Gosling.
No. So now we're gonna go to drama, Joyce. Save the drama for drama. No.
There's no more drama in phase 2 because of Shōgun.
So here are my picks. I have 7 of the 8 I think that you have, and we have the same idea in the 8th slot, just different shows, if I remember. But I have Shōgun, Fallout, The Crown, The Morning Show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Gilded Age, Slow Horses, and Loki.
I obviously have Ahsoka instead of Loki.
So we're both going with like the big like Disney Plus genre show over like The Curse or Three Body Problem.
Also genre shows in a way. It's The Curse in a way.
Three Body Problem, I guess I could see because it's Netflix, and like we were just talking about earlier with like The Gentleman and Girls Five Eva. Clearly it was watched, but I just am like, I don't know.
I feel like it's not mainstream enough.
I think that's maybe it.
And I think that was the expectation for it by outsiders. I don't know if that was the internal expectation like from D&D, but I think because they were coming off of Game of Thrones, people kind of expected another broad show like Game of Thrones. And it's really not. I think it has a lot of really passionate fans, like really loyal fans. but it might just be, you know, a little too convoluted for general audiences.
Do you like comedy? There's room here for a surprise, right? In this last spot, beyond the
I mean,
curse
I'm
with
not
Moonlight
confident in like
problem.
half of these, so
It's like does Tokyo Vice, Elsbeth, Sugar, like any of these shows have possibilities of getting in? I guess so.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like we will know when we know. Like I
Yeah.
think we all just kind of have defaulted to a lot of these shows
Yep.
here because it feels like we don't have a lot of options. Like, would I be surprised if Slow Horses was not? No. Or The Gilded Age? No. Or
No.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith? No.
But then there's nothing to pick. So
Yeah. So I'm like, I have them in here.
yeah, same. I think in
Uh,
another year they would all be eighth shows for me. But now this year they're like in the top six. I have nothing else.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like it'll be fun. Like I hope it's not like what I have, like the eight that I have. Like I want like a big surprise.
Would love a big surprise.
Yeah.
For actor Joyce in a drama. Oh, sorry. Well, actress first in a drama series. I've got Anna Sawai for Shōgun, Emma Stone for The Curse, Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show, Reese Witherspoon for The Morning Show, Maya Erskine for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Carrie Preston for Elsbeth.
Wow.
Sorry to Imelda Staunton and Carrie Coon.
I can't believe you're gonna leave Imelda out because of what I said.
You made a lot of sense, Joyce.
I was only saying that based on your own argument about campaigning.
Made a lot of
That was
sense.
your own rule. That was your own rule.
Made a lot of sense.
I have Anna, Jen, Imelda, Reese, Maya, and I still have Emma, but I don't know if I want to keep her, but then I don't know who to replace her with.
Carrie Coon.
I've double carries here. There's
Uh,
Ella Purnell.
Ella Purnell, sure.
I don't know.
Ella Purnell to me feels like Britt Lower for Severance.
I can't believe Severance is not going to be back until January 17th, the day of Oscar nominations. But not that, but it will have been off the year for almost 3 years, or it's premiering its second season almost 3 years after the series premiered, which is fucking insane.
Absolutely
It
crazy.
premiered the show premiered in February 2022.
Correct. And the season 2 is January 2025.
It's gonna miss the Winter Awards.
It missed the Winter Awards and then we'll be there for
The teaser
Emmys,
dropped today for context.
Emmys 2026 or 2025, excuse me.
It'll compete at the Emmys first next year, but it's gonna miss the
This
Winter
first
Award.
Winter Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta say, definitely gonna have to rewatch season 1 because if you ask me about anything, I remember the vibes were cool. The finale was great cliffhanger. No idea what happens.
Like that is absurd. Even in this era of shows taking, you
I
know, like
think
18 months to two. I mean, obviously there were double strikes, but
that hurt it.
yeah, but like they started production in 2022.
There's a great art.
Or no, 23. 20
I
is the last
personally
years.
love Ben Stiller. He's like one of my faves as an actor, and I think as a director, he's like incredibly interesting. There's a great New Yorker article. Remember this that came out? Tad Friend did it around Secret Life of Walter Mitty that like went into detail about how fastidious and meticulous he is as a filmmaker. And I think if you read that article and then look at how it took 3 years to get Severance season 2 up and running, strikes accepted, you won't be surprised that it's taken a long time.
Well, they also, you know, allegedly had drama behind the scenes.
Read this New Yorker article and you'll see.
But also it cracked me up because they had like wrapped filming season 2, I guess like 2 months ago now. And then he was at the French Open. I'm like, Ben, you're not editing right now.
He directed 5 of the 10 episodes for season 2, they said.
It's like they wrapped and then he just went to Paris.
Who was the other? I will butcher her name. The Irish woman who did the other episodes. Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember her name.
She's not back to direct any of the other season 2 episodes. They have other filmmakers who all sound really interesting. But anyway, I'm excited for season 2. But anyway, Britt Lower feels like Ella Purnell. Ella Purnell feels like Britt Lower to me. For like the genre show that's like the lesser known of the lead actors compared to like the lead actor and maybe doesn't get in, even though
I mean, I
could
don't
get
think
in.
she's lesser known. I think people know her from Yellow Jackets. Like Britt Lauer was more of an
Lesser
unknown.
known than Walton
And,
Goggins, I guess I would say.
and I just feel like the show needed to pop more than it did. It sounds weird to say because it has like really huge numbers, fake
Yeah.
numbers, whatever. But I like part of me feels like that's still very concentrated with like the gamers, right? I feel like
Yeah.
it's not really um super broad. I don't even know like what I don't know. I feel like there were, I mean, totally different shows, but it's like there was more impact with Bridgerton widely than with Fallout
I
necessarily.
don't think that's wrong. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I thought she was great, and I would love it if I mean I would love if all three of them got in because like Aaron Moulton was good too, and
Really
that's
good.
like a tricky character. So
If you predicted Emma snub, you would be like a hero because no one really is predicting that. So I almost want you to do it.
I mean, but then I don't know like who to replace her with. Like who
I
should I?
Carrie Preston, baby. Let's go.
I mean, I could have Carrie and Michael
I
Emerson.
have him
You
too. I
know,
want the his
I
and
love, I
her.
love Emmy nominated
Yeah.
couple.
I want his and her nominations there.
Should I do it?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, I'll do it. I don't know.
I mean, whether you keep this, I'll be surprised, but I'm gonna keep it just cause.
I mean, I might end up keeping it because I don't know what else
What else to do?
to
Throw your
do.
hands up.
Like, who else do I do here? Rosario Dawson. I've seen people suggest Mariska Hargitay because it's the 25th season of SVU. But speaking of them, like not going back to people, like
Yeah,
it's been like what, like 12 years since she was
yeah,
last nominated.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so I don't know. Why didn't you do your girl Melissa Benoist?
well, I wanted to. Fantastic interview. Absolutely love her. A great show, Girls on the Bus. Rudely canceled by Max, though not surprised because if it has a woman in the lead, it seems like a lot of those are not going to go far on Max.
I'm surprised they remembered it existed. It was filmed a while ago.
I know. I was super thrilled that I got to interview her and that they actually kept the interview because it was booked before she got
We
the
even
show got
talked about
canceled.
this. They rescheduled or they canceled. They didn't reschedule, and then it was canceled. The show was
And then
canceled.
they brought it back. And it's a great interview. You can watch it right now on YouTube. Uh, for drama actor, Joyce, I have Hiroyuki Sanada for Shōgun, Cosmo Jarvis for Shōgun, Walton Goggins for Fallout, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Dominic West for The Crown, and Donald Glover for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I have the same, the top six.
This is like comedy actor where I'm just not even going to think about it very much. And if there is a snub, then
No,
so
yeah,
be
I don't
it.
care. I don't care if this is wrong. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. So let's skip to that next one then.
I don't know. I mean, like Colin Farrell in Seventh Hiddles, like two of
No,
my faves, but I'm
not
not
real.
gonna do
That's
them.
not real. I don't believe it's real. This one I had a really tough time with. I don't love any of these options, so this is what I stuck with. Basically, what I had for drama supporting actress, I have Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, Mocha Hoshi for Shōgun, Leslie Manville for The Crown, Fumi Nicchiato for Shōgun, Greta Lee for The Morning Show, Holland Taylor for The Morning Show, and Karen Pittman for The Morning Show. I don't know.
I think we just have a morning show difference because you don't have Nicole Bahari.
I have Greta Lee, and you have
Yeah,
you don't, and you have
yeah.
Nicole
So I
Bahari.
think
And
that's
I
their
don't.
only difference. So we have the others.
No Cynthia Nixon, no Kristen Scott Thomas, both of whom are higher in the odds. No Christine Baranski. I'm just not sure Gilded Age is gonna like get nominations beyond series in the acting side.
Same. It feels like too ensemble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, would it be like a name recognition that Christine Baranski gets in? But I feel like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be her and Carrie Coon. I mean, we didn't mention Morgan Spector for actor, but it's
Right.
like and Nathan Lane, I guess, for
We'll do him
supporting
next, maybe.
actor. I don't know, like it got the SAG Ensemble nomination.
Yes, it
So,
did.
but I don't, it feels like when people, I'm not like a huge Gilded Age stan, but like when it airs and people are like live tweeting it, I feel like it's like people love the show and like the characters overall, but there's no like real like standout, even though everyone is great. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. I think it's like they're more inclined to love the show and its crafts, and it gets in for series and a bunch of below the line stuff than its individual actors.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not like obvious. It's not ranked when they're voting, but I don't know if like any of the particular performances is someone's like favorite, right? Like their
Right.
top favorite, that'll be the first name they write down.
I agree. So I'm
So
just going. I'm
I
off it then completely. So I just went morning show, Shogun, and The Crown. That's
yeah,
my
I'm not sure about these either. Like I'm like obviously Elizabeth is winning. Um, but then if you told me all the other six people I have are snubbed, I'll be like, sure.
yeah. With this, I just was like, after last year, and I just don't like, I think when they like a show, they just pick the people from that show. And so, like, we did this with comedy. I was like, these are the shows they like. And then drama, while it's not a deep bench and maybe some of these shows aren't even liked, I think there are a few shows that stand above the others. So that's what I'm sticking with. And I don't think Gilded Age is as liked as The Morning Show.
I mean, last year this category had more variety than supporting actor because it was, obviously White Lotus dominated half the category, but it had one Succession, one Better Call Saul, and one The Crown.
But at the same
So,
time, I was like, Succession really wouldn't have had, there was no one predicting like an extra Succession person
I
there.
mean, you were predicting Justine.
I was.
I remember.
I was. She should have
Okay.
gotten in. But in reality, there was no real extra Succession person. There was no real extra Crown person. You know what I mean? Like, it just is like, I don't know.
It could have, I mean, like The Crown just really flatlined last season. If the season 5 of The Crown had been better, or if they had been, I guess, lazier,
Maybe Ray
like,
Searon doesn't get in, basically.
I don't know. Well, I felt good about Ray last year because it was like she already got the nomination the year before.
Right.
So it just sucks that she couldn't win. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just
here,
like they still are picking the same from the same shows. White Lotus had 4, but like the other shows were still big shows, I guess.
yeah. So here, I'm not worried about The Crown or the morning show ladies, even if I have the wrong combo. Like the morning show has never gone into this category. But again, with the competition, it feels like it's the time for it to break into this category. And so I think it'll get multiple slots. We didn't mention obviously Juliana Margulies, which they're not mentioning either. So
Yeah.
she's not coming back season 4. But
Maybe
she's an
season 5.
option. She's an
Maybe
option. Yeah,
season
maybe
5.
Laura's still alive. So
Poochie died on the
I'm
way back to their home planet, I believe.
I'm more worried about the Shogun ladies, honestly, because I think they're fan favorites online, and I think it's the same thing of like I don't know if that translates to the industry and voters, and both of them are, speaking of unknowns, like they are unknowns here, right? And like neither of them are the stars or the leads that I feel like the most of the, you love a campaign, and most of the acting campaign for Shogun has been Hiro, Anna, and Tadanobu,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I I'll
So
say this. I think Mocha Hoshi is pretty set just because all of her scenes are with like all the main people you just mentioned, basically, right? Like Cosmo, Anna, like she's like a huge factor in those scenes. Fumi Nikiato, I'd be a little more suspect of, I think, but I don't
I mean,
know.
I have them because I honestly have no one else
Right.
really. I think that they were great on the show, but they, I guess it's like I wasn't even sure about them in limited, you
I'm
know?
actually more sure of them in Trauma than I was in
Yeah, but then
Limited.
in drama, I'm like, I have a lot of spots
Yeah.
here, so I'm gonna put them in.
For drama supporting actor, Joyce, my strategy is again the 2 shows or 3 shows that I think they watched and liked. So I have Billy Crudup for the morning show, Tatanobu Asano for Shogun, Tokuma Nishioka for Shogun, Takehiro Hira for Shogun, John Hamm for the morning show, Khalid Abdallah for The Crown, and Mark Duplass for the morning show.
I have the same except a different crown guy. I have Jonathan, but I'm like willing to drop him for Khalid or Salim.
I think if I was gonna, I put Khalid because all of his stuff is with Elizabeth Debicki, so
Yeah,
that was it. Salim, I think, could easily get in place of Duplass. I almost put him in, but I was listening to you in my head being like, "Oh, he was nominated before," and like he does have like a showcase moment this 3rd season, so like maybe that's enough to get him in.
hilarious moment.
So,
Freeze frame.
uh,
Um,
yeah,
I yeah, this is like I don't know.
I just was like Jonathan Price, I guess, could get in on his name recognition alone. He's 3rd in the odds, but I was like, I don't think anybody even really thinks about him for this final season, and like Khalid Abdallah had so much with Diana, and like I don't know, and Debicki, I was like, I just think that's enough.
I mean, at one point I had like 3 Crown guys in here before
Once
Shōgun came.
before Shōgun came in. We're both in outliers because the Tokuma and Takehiro are not in this. They're not very widely predicted.
Well, I think Nathan is still is he in the top 7 still?
Yeah, it's Crudup, Ham, Price, Asano, Khalid Abdallah, Nathan Lane. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Takehiro Hiro is actually 7th finally.
I mean, I had Jack Loudon at some point too, so
Yeah.
we're still.
Well, Kyukwan is 8th, Duplass 9th, Jack Loudon 10th, and Takuma 11th. Benny Safdie 12th.
Your fave.
He was the best part of that show, but I don't have him in.
Yeah, I only like this category. I only feel really, really good about Billy and Tadanobu.
Yeah. I'm just maxing out. I'm maxing out on Shōgun, basically. That's my strategy here. I just think they're going to treat it like the White Lotus and like these people all get in.
Should I drop Jonathan?
I mean, I have, so.
Let me do Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo for a crown guy. Eeny, Miny, Mo. Okay, I'm gonna replace him with Khalid.
Nice.
This is how I predict. I do Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. So.
Let's keep going, Joyce. We have so many left to do, and we still have emails to do. For drama guest actress, I have Claire Foy for The Crown, Michaela Cole for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Sarah Paulson for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Marcia Gay Harden for The Morning Show, and Parker Posey for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I have the same.
Yuko Miyamoto is 3rd in the odds. I could see her getting in for Shōgun, but I'm basically just hope dicting Parker Posey because I think she deserves to get in, and I have Wagner Moura in for some guest actor, and I feel like
you can't have a Mr. Smith without the Mrs.
I don't think you can, so I have them both in. But this would be a great list. I guess we don't know how hard they're going to go for the Mr. and Mrs. Smith people.
No, it's a total question mark.
But there's really not a lot of other options.
No. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm just gonna stick with these, and then Claire Foy's gonna win her 3rd Emmy for The Crown.
Pretty hilarious. It's actually hilarious that she would. And then drama guest actor, I have Michael Emerson for Fallout, Nestor Carbonell for Shōgun, Paul Dano for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Kyle MacLachlan for Fallout, and Wagner Moura for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I just have John Turturro instead of Paul.
I'm going on based on the show. Like, John would not be in my top 5 of guest actors for them. So
I mean, I want to do Ron Perlman in my heart of hearts.
And I was like, Dano is great. He's so good. It's like his character's hilarious. He's got that great moment in the finale. Like, I just feel like Turturro is fine and like is a past nominee, obviously. So like it makes sense.
He's a past winner.
Right. So it makes sense that he would get in.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do here with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and also the Fallout people too. So
other people, popular picks, Jonathan Pryce here for Slow Horses, but
yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to do Gary as its acting.
Yep.
Nominee. Sam Waterston is really high for Law and Order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Limited series. This one, we got an email I'll read later because we have so many emails, but David L. really wanted me to do All the Light We Cannot See. Thinks that you're right on the money with that pick. I'm not going to do that, though, even though I think it's right.
You already told me last week you're not going to step on my toes.
I won't in this category, just in the other ones. So this one, I've got Baby Reindeer, Lessons in Chemistry, True Detective Night Country, Fargo, and Masters of the Air.
You're going to do Hunks.
I am. I don't think that's right. But
you could also do Griselda. You were talking about Griselda last week, too.
I don't feel like that's getting in. I don't know. It doesn't feel like Dahmer did. So
no, of course not. No,
so,
Dahmer was way bigger.
Yeah. So I didn't go Ripley, though. I don't think Ripley's going to get in series.
I have Baby Reindeer, Lessons, True Detective, Fargo, and All the Light We Cannot See in my Obi-Wan Kenobi memorial spot.
feels like this is a great pick. No one other than you is talking about this as a real possibility. And so when it happens, please remember that Joyce was the one who said that All the Light We Cannot See,
And
which
then if it
performed,
doesn't happen, I did not say it at all. No, I
nobody
don't.
will remember it. This has become a thin category, I would argue, without Shōgun here. So yeah, I could see any number of these other shows getting in, but I'm not sure what has been watched.
Yeah, I think if you just look at the past nominees, like especially the last 2 years in this category, the shows that get into limited series are again like more broad mainstream, like they might not be as critically acclaimed as like
Yes.
Ripley, right?
Yes.
Or The Sympathizer,
Yes.
right? But they're more broad, and I think like that's definitely the case with like Obi-Wan last year. And All the Light We Cannot See too, which like Obi-Wan got PGA and DGA.
Yep.
And that's why I initially had Obi-Wan last year and then I dropped it at the end. So now I feel like I need to honor Obi-Wan, even if All the Light We Cannot See did not get in, but it also hit PGA and DGA this year.
I think it's a great pick. So I didn't do it. I know it's right. I know this is a right prediction to make.
It would be the first one called out if it's right.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so like I think in this, like I had Hunks in here before in this similar argument. I think, you know, that is not as acclaimed as some other shows here. But I think it is something that is an easy watch for people, right?
Yeah, it's a
So
big dad show.
it's a huge dad show. And it would be nice in a sense to have Steven and Tom continue their or get nominated for their Greatest Generation trilogy.
Yes.
It won't win like the other two did, even if it did get in.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I'll do this. It's at 100-1. So
no one is
if it
predicting
gets in.
Yeah. No one is predicting.
Big payout for me of nothing, but just pride.
Just pride. Pride is all that matters. TV movie, we could do this quick. I don't have a lot to say. I have Mr. Monk's Last Case, Scoop, Red, White, and Royal Blue, Quiz Lady, and No One Will Save You.
I have the same. Do you just copy me?
No, I don't think so. I didn't even look at yours, so no.
I have Monk, Quiz, Red, White, and Royal Blue, Scoop, and No One Will Save You. Yeah.
No One Will Save You feels like the prey of this year, even though I don't think it was as widely seen or respected, but it's like the genre thing that I think a lot of people just watched on Hulu.
I did it because it was on Hulu.
Yeah.
I like K-Muni is high, and I feel like no one really watched it.
And then Great Lillian Hall is high also, Joyce. Your favorite movie.
Your favorite movie. We watched that at the same time.
We did. I fell asleep watching it. Best limited series movie actress, Joyce. This one I just stuck with the top 5 in the odds. Jodie Foster, Brie Larson, Juno Temple, Sofia Vergara, and Kate Winslet.
You're going with Kate.
I am. Just like the show was polarizing. People didn't like it, but they like Kate Winslet. No one's gonna overthink it. They're just gonna put her in. That's it.
I have Jodie, Brie, Sophia, Juno, and I'm gonna go back to Uzo Aduba.
Nice. SAG nominee.
Painkiller.
Yeah.
SAG nominee, Uzo Aduba, 3-time Emmy winner, Uzo Aduba. Sorry to Naomi Watts. I don't know. I mean, I've just had her hanging out in the formerly 6th and now 5th spot for a while. And I just like, I mean, have you even mentioned Feud? I don't know what to make of how it'll perform.
Is this our like bias that we didn't love it or don't care about it? But I'm like, it just doesn't feel like anybody's talking. It's like over predicted, I think, because of like the names involved. But I don't think it had like a great like buzz or response.
No, like we've talked about like, I mean, we have anecdotes from other people about how much they did not like the season. I mean, I talked to someone a couple months ago who like this type of show is like right up their alley, like the topics it covers, and they hated it, and they were like, I quit after the 4th episode. That seems to be just like the tap out line for a lot of people. And so I don't know, like I think she was really good. She's also kind of like supporting, so I would feel better about having her in supporting actually. But yeah, so I'm gonna have Billy Crudup in, but not Naomi Watts. I'm sorry.
Okay. For limited series movie actor, I'm gonna do something dumb, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Here's what I have.
You're gonna do this
Richard,
live.
Richard Gadd for Baby Reindeer, Andrew Scott for Ripley, John Hamm for Fargo, David Oyelowo for Lawman, Bass Reeves, and Hua Shande for The Sympathizer.
So now you're copying me again.
I dropped Hollander just because of what we're talking about. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna be all out on this show, and if it gets in and it's like Welcome to Chippendales or whatever, that's fine.
Um, I have Richard, Andrew, John, Tom, and Hua. So I feel like I just need to stick with Hua because I've had him for so long and I just never dropped him.
I interviewed him, so I feel like
I'm
I
surprised
should.
you didn't put him in after you interviewed him.
I did. I had him in after interview, and then I dropped him out. But he was a great interview, and he's a great actor, and he's like, I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm putting him in, and I had Bass Reeves, Lawman Bass Reeves star David Oyelowo is a SAG nominee, getting in there. The Uzo Aduba
I feel
star.
like, well, I mean, Uzo show is on Netflix, which we know they watch, and they don't really watch P plus.
Yeah,
So I think
sure.
I think SAG voters watch P plus as we've seen.
Right.
Um, but I think I'll keep Tom. Um,
I dropped it. I'm
just
just like I'm out on the
like,
show. I like I'm nowhere else
well, I don't
really.
know like who I would replace him with. That's the other thing. I guess I could put Tony Shalhoub back in,
I mean,
even.
Shalhoub would have been is your guy, so I feel like you should.
I don't know, like Matt Bomer's there.
And
Uh,
Boomer I don't have in, but I think the fellow traveler stands who comment on our on our YouTube and also email us will be happy with my later pick here.
because you still have Jonathan in. You were bullied
Yes,
into Jonathan.
yes, Selena Gomez style. Uh, should we do? Do we have two left here? Then we can go to emails. Supporting actress in a movie or limited series. I have Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, Nava Mao for Baby Reindeer, Aja Naomi King for Lessons in Chemistry, Callie Reese for True Detective Night Country, Jennifer Jason Leigh for Fargo, and then I'm going down with the ship. Chloe Guidry for Under the Bridge and Archie Punjabi for Under the Bridge. I know they're not coming. I know it's not happening, but I don't care. They deserve to get nominated. I'm just gonna leave my picks. Matthew Good style.
Um, I don't have them. I still have Diane Lane here and Risha Morjani for Fargo. Those are my other two, in addition to the other five.
The Risha Morjani, I think, is really good and could get in.
Yeah, I don't know. Like again, like I kind of want to drop Diane, and then I'm like, who should I do instead?
I feel like Dakota Fanning has gotten a lot more buzz lately, and she's moving up in the odds. I guess I could see her as a coattail nominee. She's literally the only other actor besides the detective, I think, who would be warrant any kind of recognition for Ripley other than Andrew Scott. But
Yeah, I don't know if I should just like abort all the swans here.
I did.
And like Sandra Oh is still pretty high for the sympathizer, but I got rid of her a while ago, and I don't know if just her being Sandra Oh isn't enough
I
to
mean, yeah, I
get
don't
in.
know.
And she's not the lead like Hua is, like it's, she's good in the show, but it's very a small role.
Yeah, if the show was bigger and like more widely embraced, I think she would probably just get in. But the fact that it was kind of like not, I think will hurt her.
Yeah, and I kind of do want to do like Under the Bridge, but I don't know if, because part of me also feels like Lily Gladstone is being predicted because she's Lily Gladstone.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm going with I'm going with like Welcome to Chippendale style. Like if they watch the
who's gonna
show,
be like Welcome to Chippendales and like Tiny Beautiful Things here?
Under the Bridge would be that. And I think if you watch this, like Archie Punjabi is like absolutely like a competitive nominee to me because she is gonna make people cry and she has like a great little arc and she's really good on the show and she's a name, right? You know what I mean? So like
She's
all
an
those
Emmy
things,
winner.
right? So it's like all those things together lead me to believe that she should have a more realistic shot of getting in than people would maybe expect. Chloe Guidry is a newcomer who is not have any name recognition, doesn't even play one of like one of the main really one of the main girls, like towards the, you know what I mean? Like she starts out as like a main figure, but is like probably third or fourth by the end. But she's so good. I'm just gonna leave her in. I just loved her in it so much.
Uh, I don't know. Like, I don't feel good about Diane, but I'm like, who would I go to?
I don't know. Sandra Oh, I don't know.
No. Like, because there's just like other swans here.
Yeah, I'm just out on the swans. So what we're saying, what could be the welcome to Chippendales is swans. That could be it.
But I don't think it's the same though, because
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, if somebody's watching this, they're like, duh, the swans. That's the show. That's like,
no, because I think like there were no expectations for Chippendales, whereas there are
yeah,
expectations
true. True.
for Feud, right? Um and I think if you talk to people, like what we've heard obviously is like people did not enjoy watching Feud, whereas I think you would kind of enjoy watching Chippendales. It's it's
Chippendales was
watchable.
fun. Chippendales was
Yeah,
fun. I don't know, Joyce. I don't know what you're gonna do.
I don't know. What if I change this between now and
I'm sure
Wednesday?
you will. Yeah. Uh, last category before we get the emails. Movie, limited series, supporting actor. Here are the nominees that I have: Robert Downey Jr., Tom Goodman Hill for Baby Reindeer, Louis Pullman for Lessons in Chemistry, John Hawkes for True Detective, Sam Spruell for Fargo, Joe Keery for Fargo, and Jonathan Bailey for Fellow Travelers.
Jonathan Bailey, who's third in the odds, and I
Yeah,
don't have him.
yeah. He's your
Um,
Meryl.
I have RDJ, Lewis, Finn Bennett, John Hawkes, Tom Goodman Hill, Joe, and Sam.
So you have Finn Bennett, I have Jonathan Bailey. That's where we split.
Yeah, I've had Finn since February, so I gotta keep him.
This is a really thin category without any Shōgun people here.
If you told me everyone I have here did not get in, I'll be like,
Who
makes
got
sense.
in? But who got in?
I mean, like they could do. I'm like the based on people that I have, like they could do like Treat Williams, right? Like
Tree Williams
posthumous.
is widely
There's a lot of
predicted.
posthumous options here.
Tree Williams would be good. I really liked Ron Cephas Jones in Genius MLKX, and I had him in there after I watched it in January, but obviously that show does not exist. Do you think like Mark Ruffalo for all your favorite show, All the Light We Cannot See, gets a surprise nomination? You,
I
Lori?
feel like I feel like Hugh would be the one who would get in if they actually watched it.
What about more Fargo people? Dave
I mean,
Foley,
I said last week, like I thought, or maybe 2 weeks ago, like I thought about Lamorne.
Lamorne Morris, Dave Foley, David Rysdahl. Like any of those three guys could probably get in. Certainly.
I don't know. Yeah,
Lamorne
well,
has the
Fargo's another one where, like it obviously tanked last season for season 4. So it's like, and it's never really maxed out in acting. So I don't know like how far I want to push it with the Fargo acting nominations either, even though this category is so open.
any of the hunks. Barry
I'm
Keoghan,
not I'm not doing any hunks. I'm sorry.
Anthony Boyle,
I love them so much, but I'm not doing the hunks.
Jonathan Flynn, Johnny Flynn.
Your fave from Ripley. No.
Uh, anyway, that's it. Those are our picks. I feel really not confident in this, but I'm very excited to see how it goes.
Yeah. It's gonna be chaotic. Like what if RDJ is snubbed?
I guess I just was like all of these potential snubs, like Meryl. I feel like I could make a case for because there's other options that are from shows that people loved, and in this category, I'm like, who else is there? Like, there's not a lot there. Tree Williams, I get, like, I don't know, but that's a show that I don't think they liked. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I don't know. I think if Shōgun was still here, you would have a much stronger case to say Robert Downey Jr. gets snubbed because I think Shōgun Fargo would be like the top two shows in terms of like the acting part of it, and you could say like and True Detective, and then you could see like Downey gets squeezed out because Tom Goodman Hill is on the ballot for Baby Reindeer. But without Shōgun there, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I did have Christopher Eccleston at one point too for True Detective. I had triple True Detective here
Wow.
once. Yeah, like part of me feels like maybe I should like go all in on like one show, like for hero and supporting actress. And if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But if I just have like a lot of Fargo people in both places and like
You
maybe
can
like
it makes sense, but
yeah.
so we'll be back to recap these next week on Wednesday. See what happened. But now we're gonna go to emails, Joyce. Slugfest at goldderby.com. Get your emails, and we have so many emails, Joyce, about all kinds of stuff. Our Oscar picks.
I don't even remember them.
But I'm going to start with Michael because I teased this 2 hours ago. So on the YouTube
How
comments,
long is this story gonna be?
hopefully not long because I know we got a timeline. Uh, on YouTube, somebody said, "Did Chris really like?" We last week we talked all about the bear. I thought it was very good. You didn't like it as much. You thought it was fine. And then on the comments, somebody was like, "Did Chris really like it, or is he just pretending to like it, like kind of talking himself into liking it?" And I was like, "No, I really
No,
did.
yeah.
I did
You're
really like it.
genuine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a Phantom Menace thing where I saw Phantom Menace and was like, that sucked, but I gotta pretend I like it and let me see it 3 more times in the theater before I can admit that it was a piece of shit." So I like the Bear season 3, excuse me. And so I said, no, I like the Bear season 3 a lot. And I was like, I think Joyce and the critics were wrong on their takes. And I think the critics were compromised, basically. But I think Joyce is on the level because you're a righteous person and I understand what you're saying. And you also didn't, your critiques are, I understand. So that was what I said. I said wrong. So that was what set Michael off because I said you were wrong, which I would say to your face. And I feel like you would say to
You say to my face all the time. I don't care. No one needs to defend me here, guys. No one needs to defend
well, he
me.
defend more the idea of the idea is that you're actually, no one could be wrong. So anyway, I'll read them out. That's the context for this email.
Okay.
Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's me again, Game Master and Chicago Tribune food critic Mike. Thanks for playing my game last week. It was hilarious seeing you two struggle, but I do appreciate your effort and we'll make it a bit easier this time so you don't need to check Wikipedia when answering. So yes, we will play another game. Context for people who are like, what the fuck? Michael's game last week was recasting the bear with Oscar winners, not Oscar winners on the show, like Jamie Lee Curtis and Olivia Colman, and no really bottling the ends or anything. So we had to like really think hard.
Yeah. And neither of us are people who do recastings. We don't do this stuff.
No, it's
We
just
don't do like hypothetical type of
so
stuff
I
like
looked.
this.
I did look at the game. I didn't like do it, but I looked coming up. It's actually a little more reasonable. Anyway, but before we play, I want. This is Michael now. Back to Michael. Before we play, I want to bring something up. I saw Chris's comment in last week's episode where he called Joyce and other critics' reviews of the season 3 of The Bear to be wrong. While you are free to disagree with their opinions, Chris, I do take issue with you calling those opinions wrong because they were just saying their opinions and there is no right or wrong about them. I don't think this has to be reminded once again, but I have to now. Art is subjective. If you disagree with someone's opinions, it's fine. But calling their opinion to be wrong is just disrespectful and rude, to be honest, and gives the impression that you are invalidating what they feel about art just because they're not the same as you. It was disappointing to see as a fan. You're definitely allowed to disagree, but calling others' opinions straight out wrong just ain't it. Despite all that, I don't dislike you, Chris. I just want to bring it up and get honest about it because it was baffling to me when I saw your comment. Anyway, let's stop being serious now and let's play a game.
I'm good. I'm glad to know that he still likes you.
I feel bad that I hurt his feelings though. Uh, the mechanics are simple. I will name an Emmy-winning role in the drama lead actress category, and YouTube will recast it with an '80s Oscar Best Actress winner.
Oh
I
my
chose the
God.
'80s as an homage to the current season of your Oscars playback series. I hope this won't be as challenging as last week, LOL. You have free reign to repeat an answer if you want to, and it doesn't exactly need to be them at the specific time when they won. Are you ready? Let's go. The choices are Sissy Spacek, Katharine Hepburn, Meryl Streep, Shirley MacLaine, Sally Field, Geraldine Page, Marlee Matlin, Cher, Jodie Foster, and Jessica Tandy. And here are the roles. Alicia Florrick for The Good Wife.
Um, hmm. I love Alicia Florrick. For some reason, Sally Field came to mind, but I don't think she like I would do her.
I thought the same thing, but why is that? I have no
I
idea.
don't
That doesn't
know
even work.
why.
That doesn't even work.
Because they have black hair. I don't
I
know.
guess.
Like I'm like that would actually not be good. I don't think. Um, I'll say Jodie.
Okay. Next it was Carmelo Soprano in The Sopranos.
Cher.
Definitely Cher. uh, Patty Hughes is in Damages.
Oh, Glenn. Should we do like Meryl? I don't know.
I thought Meryl, but we're running out. There's 4 left, but I think Meryl will be good too. Carrie Mathison in Homeland.
Hmm. I could see like a young Marlee Matlin.
Okay. Dana Scully in The X-Files. That one I felt like Sissy Spacek, but I don't know.
Uh, maybe. Yeah, I could see it.
CJ Craig in The West Wing. We've got Geraldine Page. Jessica Tandy, Katharine Hepburn left, and yeah, that's it.
CJ. I guess I'll do Catherine.
I thought Katharine Hepburn too. And then
Yeah.
lastly, Shiv Roy.
Oh my gosh.
I think Shirley MacLaine would actually be great, but
I
like
think she's like, of the ones we have left, I think she would be the best.
young Shirley MacLaine, though, obviously not like
Yes,
Hurling
yeah,
here and Shirley MacLaine.
yeah.
Anyway, that's all for now. Once again, Chris, you're still cool. I will definitely continue supporting the pod because it always is fun to see you two banter, whether you agree with each other or not. Thanks and have a great day. We were this close to losing Michael, Joyce,
Oh
because of
my
me.
God.
I'm so
Thank
sorry.
God he still likes you. No,
Oh my
like, I
God.
mean, I don't take you saying like I'm wrong literally. Like we just
Yeah,
like I tell you you're wrong all the time
of
too.
course, of
Yeah.
course. Let's see other emails here. This one I think you would like. This is we're shifting gears a
Why?
little. Shifting gears a little bit. I think you'll like this one. It's from Warren. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I'm a year-long listener, but a lifelong Oscar junkie. Wanted to talk about your picks from last week. I want to throw in Josh Hartnett's name in the Oscar race for the movie Trap. This is the 25th anniversary of M. Night Shyamalan's Sixth Sense, and Josh Hartnett is having a resurgence right now. Plus, the best actor race is so dull. The same day the Gladiator picks dropped, the second trailer for Trap was released, and God, if Josh Hartnett's not having the time of his life in this movie. Even though Denzel is in this Ridley Scott sequel, my excitement for this Hartnett performance is bigger, and I want more chat about it in these circles. Yes, I am biased, for I'm always excited to champion horror thriller performances, but something tells me the Oscar pendulum is swinging towards genre risky projects like Joker, Everything Everywhere, Barbie, and Anna de Armas and Blonde. From your perspective, am I high, or at least can we get his name in the predictions so I can at least put him in the odds? That's from Warren.
Well, we don't control that, so
No.
yeah. But I would love to see Oscar nominee Josh Hartnett for
The
anything.
Hartnett Sans? What are we calling it?
Yeah, it started last year. I mean, like he's still been doing stuff. Like he was on Penny Dreadful. No one watched it, but like he's been working,
But now he's
right?
got
But it really started with Oppie last year.
Oppenheimer, The Bear, Trap. Trap looks great. I can't wait to see that shit.
You know, I don't really watch like night movies, really, like especially of his recent stuff. But I'm like, I'll watch this for Josh.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I love Josh.
Yeah.
I've been riding with him since the late '90s. So
The other day, we were flipping around on one of the free channels and watching some of The Faculty. Great.
you know, I love The Faculty.
So good.
Josh Hartnett, Usher, give it to me.
Great. This one is from our old pal, Fear-Based Horniness. You remember them, Joyce?
Of course.
Hi, Joyce and Chris. Do you guys have absolutely no expectations for fellow travelers at the Emmys? Is it Showtime Paramount Plus that is Showtime and Paramount Plus that much of a flop?
I mean, that's really, it's like that, but also it underperformed at the guilds too. So, I mean, like if it gets in anywhere, like great, congratulations to it. But I'm just using the data that I have for it.
The data and past history.
Yeah, it's like history and the data.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I understand it's a fan favorite show and people want it to get in, and want the actors to get in. So, but I'm just using the context that I have.
Probably smart. I'm using that I was bullied to picking Jonathan Bailey.
I mean, I think he probably has the best chance, like between like him and Matt and the series.
I mean, of all the people, he's the one who was like campaigned the most. He's done the absolute most.
Yeah, and like he has the bigger category.
Yeah.
So it'll be
And,
like presumably easier for him to get into than that actor with fewer slots.
Yep.
So I don't think the show, I would rank it like Jonathan, Matt, and the show. I think the show might suffer from the same issue we were talking about earlier with just not broad enough. Even it's more acclaimed and shows like All the Light We Cannot See and Hunks in the Air.
Yeah. This one is from Gabriel. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Thanks for reading my first email. It made my week. He had emailed us previously, Joyce. I don't know if you remember. Chris, I remember you compared Cosmo Jarvis in Shōgun to Tom Hardy. I wanted to throw my own comp into the mix. He reminds me of James Purfoy in Rome, especially the swearing. I also want to give a shout out to my favorite performance on Under the Bridge. Izzy G is Kelly Ellard. Her outburst during the trial and briefly putting on a British accent is truly unhinged. Regarding All the Light We Cannot See's Emmy's chances, I do think it's being slightly underestimated for limited series, but as a fan of the book, I hope it doesn't make it into series or writing because the changes they made, especially to the ending, were distasteful. I'm already burned out thinking about the acting categories, so let's talk about a fun category I love instead, main title design. What are your favorite main titles this year? Mine is Shōgun, and I fully expect it to win. Have you seen any of the TV movie contenders this season? And if so, what did you think of them? The only one I've seen is No One Will Save You, and while I loved it, I'm also now not confident in predicting it. Unlike Prey, it seems pretty inaccessible, and I'm not sure voters will go for it. Thanks and happy predicting. That's from Gabriel.
Main title, I thought I think the Shogun ones were really well made, but I laughed the first time I watched it, and I think I was like slacking to you when I was watching it too, because they felt like Apple titles to me. You know what
Yes.
I mean? It's just the glossiness and the sheen, and it felt more sci-fi than like 1600s Japan.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Palm Royale titles. I thought those were good.
Apple has good titles.
Really great.
So I don't know what other titles I like this year. Um, I don't know. Nothing really stood out. Like the Franklin ones were fun. They were kind of cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
So
Apple again. Apple's good at this.
yeah, Apple. I mean, but you know what? I feel like they kind of slacked on the hunks titles because it's just like scenes from the show,
A
right?
brutal, interminable main titles.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes long, but fun to watch. Like fun and like it's funny and how long it is
Yeah.
to watch.
This one is from a longtime listener, Joyce, and a fan, KM. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I hope you're well. With Emmy nominations being announced soon, I have started to think more and more about winners. Today, I want to talk about Hacks. Right now, I think its season is one win above the line, and that would be Hannah Einbinder for supporting actress. Joyce has mentioned a few times that it could suffer the same fate as Barry and not win anything after a major hiatus. The response to The Bear season 3 has me thinking that Jean and Hannah are vulnerable to a sweep for The Bear because I think they would have needed more negative response to The Bear's third season to be more competitive, especially Smart. The only reason I think Best Supporting Actress is still competitive for Hannah is because of the vote splitting between Liza Colon-Zayas and Abby Elliott. I guess what I'm saying is I think The Bear will win all the major categories won last year and swap Best Supporting Actress for Best Actress. What are your thoughts? That's from KM.
Um, I I don't know if it needs to be like more negative, the response to season 3. I think like it just it took I feel like it took enough of a dip. Like it's not as euphoric as it was for season 2, right? I feel
Yeah.
like the buzz has really died down now, and we're just in like week 2,
Let me
right?
ask you, just kind of goes with that. When do you think they'll break the embargoes, or when is the embargo up on like when they're going to do postmortems on the season? Do you find it weird that there's not like a single postmortem interview with like Chris Storer or Joanna Callow yet? Like when
Well,
would
Chris
be?
hasn't really done anything. I mean, last year he couldn't really do anything like, with the strike. But like he hasn't really done a lot of press in season 1. So, but like the actors, like Evan has had some stuff.
Yeah, I saw Liza
And
Colon-Zayas did something the other day. I just was like,
yeah.
there usually is like a postmortem, like a bunch of postmortems with like a writer or co-executive producer, and I'm like, when are those going to drop? Like, are they waiting to like do it after
No,
the
I
nomination?
don't think so, because like we had like the actor postmortems like pretty immediately, like by like Friday, that
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, right? So
yeah,
I think it's just like they're just not doing any,
interesting.
really, you know what I mean? Like I mean we've seen that sometimes with
Yeah,
certain shows where it's just like the creatives are not gonna participate, or maybe they do like 1 or 2. Um, but I I think like it would kind of depend on how things play out in the next month and when voting
yeah,
happens. Like if there is just, I don't know, like maybe more negative discourse with the bear. I mean, I think it's the winning series. And I think I would uh I guess be more confident in an Io win before I saw either of their third seasons
yeah. I think Io's biggest issue is the fact that in the third season she does feel like
supporting.
supporting. So I think if she had like a bigger arc in season 3 or more to do, I think even if with the same response, I think she'd be actually be more competitive to Jean. But I do find it hard to imagine at this point. Aya winning over Jean based on what they had. I don't know. But I know they're not voting for season 3, but I do think that would matter in terms
Yeah,
of
because like if you're
voting.
saying if you're taking into account their response to season 3, then you got to talk about
Yeah. Yeah.
her,
And I just don't
presence
think
in
she's
season
she's just
3.
not in it as much. And Jean is obviously like the lead of Hats.
Yeah, like if you're saying like season 3 would help her win, so then like are you just saying that she would just coattail because the bear is unstoppable?
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I
I mean,
don't
like
know.
they've never competed against each other, so we don't know.
Right.
And yeah, like supporting, I do feel like both Abby and Liza having a spotlight episode this season could maybe like split support there,
I
even though
think
I think
so.
most people would prefer Liza's episode
I
to
think so. But I do
Abby.
think that there's enough that it would split support and Hannah could win.
Yeah. So
This one is from Gina, a longtime listener. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I know it's been a minute, but I hope you're both well. I'm
yes.
pretty much I'm pretty much out of the loop in terms of the Emmys race. So please forgive me if something feels repeated from a previous slugfest. But I do have some thoughts about the upcoming Oscar season that I'll save for another email. My question is about Interview with the Vampire. From what I can tell, at least, it doesn't really have much of a chance for any competitive categories. Netflix stated last month that it would go to its US platform eventually, so I'm wondering if that would make a difference for its third season. Vampire's trajectory has been rather strange, but also unsurprising. AMC as a network hasn't had the best luck with campaigns and promotion on its own. RIP to Better Call Saul, which lost all 27 categories for which it was nominated during its run. At the same time, a lot of people who have either watched Vampire since the beginning or just discovered it are calling it one of the best of the year, and that sounds like something that could help it later on top of the Netflix news, but I'm not sure. Would love to hear more of your thoughts, sending this on the 4th, so I hope you have a great holiday. That's from Gina.
Wow. Well, happy belated 4th, Gina. Better Call Saul went over 53, so way worse than over 27. Well, Interview would be eligible for next Emmys next year. I think a lot of its fans are upset that it's not eligible this season, that they could have I thought they like I mean AMC would have dated it earlier because they brought it to TCA in February. So I thought like maybe they'll launch it like in like April, but no, they were like May. Um and I'm like, okay, sure.
Do
So and I think, if you talk to a lot of people online, they'll tell you this is the best show on TV right now.
you think if it was eligible for this year, it would have gotten in?
No.
Do you think it will help, like Gina is saying, that the buzz will help it for a future season?
I think people also want the Netflix bump to happen too. So I
Yeah.
think, you're depending on that. And um but I feel like it might just be another like genre show they're not into. It kind of feels like that, like one of those shows that is just like kind of beloved, but too genre-y, and then it doesn't get in.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. I think like if it breaks out, not breaks out even, but like if it, does like okay during the guilds,
Then it has
then
a shot.
that yeah.
Yeah.
So like keep an eye on the guilds
Yeah.
this winter for it. So but if it's just getting like Critics' Choice nominations, then I'll be like, probably not for that means.
This one's from our old pal David L. Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's Loki composer Natalie Holt's Emmy campaigner, David L. First off, I'm starting to think Game Master Mike, based on how he introduces his emails and displays his games, is a burner account for horror movie director Mike Flanagan. Wouldn't that be cool?
I don't think anyone that important listens to us.
My question is, are you both going to take my advice and put Joey King in for We Were the Lucky Ones? Didn't even mention her as a possibility, Joyce. I still don't know why
We've
she's
talked about her
down.
before, not
Not
today.
today. Not today. I still don't know why she's down in the odds, but I feel she's a much stronger bet than the soft contenders like Nicole Kidman, Kate Winslet, or Naomi Watts for social shows based on the acclaim of the show has gotten, and it came out in March. If I'm wrong, you can blame me, and I'll take full responsibility, but at this point, you got nothing to lose. Chris, you should really listen to Joyce and put in All the Light We Cannot See. I've always had it in, and I knew it would get in since it made all the winter guilds. And I sent you an email back in May explaining this. All the Light is going to get double-digit creative arts nominations for the crafts. So I feel the only reason pundits are underestimating it is because of the negative reviews or they're anti-dicting it. I strongly and then he talks about our Oscars playback choice. We just did the 1983 Oscars, I believe, right? With Gandhi.
This week.
This week's episode. I strongly disagree and feel sad for you both calling Gandhi fine without rewatching it or reevaluating it. I've seen it so many times and in my 20s, and I get it's not your speed, but I disagree with Joyce that the movie lacks energy. It definitely has way more energy than Boring Out of Africa, Last Emperor, and Spike Lee's favorite film, Driving Miss Daisy. I laughed out loud when you said it was like homework because you can make the same comparison to Oppenheimer based on the number of people I talked to who didn't like it. Gandhi is a masterpiece, whether you choose to believe it or not. It's just a masterpiece.
Okay. I don't know. What? Cool. Congratulations.
Good.
Cool.
Few more emails, Joyce. This one is from Caitlin. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Totally random thought. But in light of the news that Josh Segarra, a true TV MVP, if there ever was one, is joining Netflix's new series Sirens, what beloved show should he appear in next?
Josh Segarra was on the Emmy ballot 3 times last year, I think.
Yes.
And he wasn't submitted for Abbott this year, right? Or was he? No, he was.
I don't think he was for Abby this year.
Was it? I could check right now because I downloaded them before they deleted them.
Oh, nice. See,
but I don't know. Because I kind of love him as just like a guest star sometimes. No, he was only submitted for a Big Short prize, which has been canceled. So I think, if Girls Five Eva comes back,
he'd be great on
he'll
that.
be great on that.
Hacks, I think he'd be really good on.
Yeah, he could, with Deborah's talk show, they could really have a lot of fun with the guests on the talk show. Maybe like we could also put him on a drama.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know what drama though.
I'm really psyched for this Siren show. It sounds like way up my alley.
Mm-hmm. Put him in Fallout. Put him in Fallout.
Oh, he'd be good in Fallout.
Yeah.
This is a good one, Joyce. This one is from Paul. It's a sports one, but not Olympics or tennis.
Wow, rude.
Hi, Joyce and Chris. Taking a break from the TV and movies to ask. We're basically at the All-Star break in Major League Baseball. So it's time to ask, who is winning the World Series? Show your work.
I don't really think about that until the playoffs. Because so much can change between now and then.
So my thoughts are this. There are fraud teams that will win a lot of games and immediately lose. That's the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Braves, who are actually already flagging behind because of injuries. So I'm like, they're all done.
I haven't even looked at the standings in a while. Let me see.
Teams I'm really interested in if they make it in the playoffs based on vibes. The Red Sox, I think, are really good vibes. If they go all in and they make it in, they can do it. I really like, I think not that into the Mariners, so I wouldn't bet on them.
No.
I think the Orioles obviously are still strong. They're not a fraud team to me, even though they're doing well. The Phillies, I like their vibes. I think if the Mets got into playoffs, I actually think they could do well. I know that sounds crazy.
But we saw what happened, two years ago? Yes, 2 years ago now.
And then that's it. So I think the Orioles or the Red Sox could win the World Series. I don't believe in the Yankees at all. They're just a fraud team, which we've talked about.
No, and like I don't support the Yankees, so I wouldn't root for them anyway. Like I'm happy for the Guardians. I feel like they always do this. Like they get on a run or they kind of do really well at like this portion of the season, and then it all falls apart at the end. This is why I don't think about this until the fall. Was it last year? I feel like they almost beat the Yankees, right? Like in their first round playoff, and they should have. And they don't really seem like they've gotten any better than they were last year. But no,
if they made some moves at the deadline, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
This is our old pal, judgmental TV fan, Joyce, and then we have a new emailer coming up called a fellow journalist. These are all anonymous, but I don't know. But this one's from judgmental TV fan. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I'm back again. I know we've discussed Oscar pundits trying to Emmy, but it's become even more embarrassing when someone drops a story or podcast debating who will be nominated and one of the people wasn't even submitted for contention.
Oh my
gosh. The ballots are right there. How hard is it to even do a little bit of research beforehand? one of the big differences I think between Oscars and Emmys is that the ballots matter more, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't
Well,
just
they're public. They're
yeah,
public for us to
yes,
consume. Yeah.
yes. You can't just throw out anybody in a movie and be like, oh, they should get nominated. Now we know who can get nominated, and that is not people like
Like
Fiona
they're
Shaw.
not, if they're not an available option.
Right.
If
Like
they're not on
Fiona
the
Shaw
ballot.
for True Detective was a popular pick,
Yeah, Robert Townsend, not on the ballot.
but they're not on the ballots.
Yeah.
Skarsgård.
Yeah. I had to drop him. So
Yeah, people don't read that much, Joyce.
so who was the offender here?
Judgmental TV event didn't say, but I'm assuming it's one of those people we mentioned who were not on the ballots, but were widely Fiona Shaw was like a top.
Oh no, I mean like who did this? Who was
I don't know. If you know, email us.
a non-submission.
If you know, email us in. It's slugfest@goldderby.com. And this one is from a fellow journalist, another anonymous email. Is this? I'd love to know whose burner account this is.
Maybe there are clues and we could figure it out.
We could if I screen grab. There's a screen grab attached.
Ooh.
I gotta say it shook me. I didn't even Google what this was, so I don't know which outlet did this.
I'm so excited.
This isn't a question, but I really wanted to share this screen grab from a story about the Bear in which someone said Josh Hartnett was going to be a father-in-law. Is journalism
Oh my
dead?
God.
Are we becoming dumber? Also, no one knows what a cameo is? Question mark. This is from a fellow journalist, and here's the screen grab. Again, I didn't Google this, so I actually don't know what this is. But it says in the screen grab, in the Emmy-winning series, Hartnett plays the well-meaning but unusually open, soon-to-be father-in-law of Richie and Tiffany's daughter, Ava. The actor only appears in one episode, season 3, episode 4, but his cameo quickly caught the attention of social media.
Does the word stepfather not exist?
No. It's just such a. I was like, it almost works, but it obviously doesn't. I'm like,
well, it's wrong. Speaking of things that are wrong, it's literally wrong. This is not an opinion. This is just factually incorrect, and this is live on the internet.
It was. I don't know. I mean, I didn't Google this. I could type this in and Google.
We could totally Google it right now and see if it's.
If you're watching this, you can Google it and see what it was. I honestly don't even want to know. But a fellow journalist, I love this. Please keep emailing in, whoever you are.
Yeah, when you said father-in-law, I was like, father-in-law of what? Like
of Ava.
I was like, please don't say his daughter. Like,
not great.
That just tells me, like, even if the writer, obviously we can all make mistakes sometimes when we're just like writing fast, right? So that tells me this is a flub by the writer, obviously. And then did this story go through editing? If it didn't, then it should. And then if it did go through edits, then the editor also didn't catch this.
I think if it went, my guess would be a quick mistake. Obviously, make a lot of mistakes. So quick mistake. The editor doesn't watch the show and just took it to be face value.
I mean, yeah, this is also like fact checking too, right? Like, I mean, I've edited a ton of stories about things I've never seen, don't watch, but like Google is free. Like I Google stuff.
Still free.
Yeah, just to make sure, like, you don't know. Like sometimes like you could just mistype a number or something, right?
It's true.
Yeah. So embarrassing.
One of my most embarrassing ones early in my career was calling Wonder Woman a Marvel character instead of
oh no
character.
How are you still alive?
This was before it got really bad. This is like 2010.
Okay.
And I called Wonder Woman a Marvel character.
A brain fart.
Yeah, you know what? When I was a kid, nobody cared about comics, so I didn't read a single comic book growing up.
Well, no, people cared. It's just like you didn't realize that other people cared because you weren't connected.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
And now I'll always know Wonder Woman is DC for life, right? So. Speaking of the Guardians, Joyce, did you see they're doing Superman in Progressive Field? I thought they were shooting something in Progressive Field, I think.
Yes, I saw that.
James Gunn loves shooting in Cleveland because I think
a lot of things have shot there. I mean, like Winter Soldier shot there.
Yeah, I guess maybe Marvel loves shooting in Cleveland, not so much James Gunn. But now DC does too. All right, Joyce, this was a long episode, so we're going to wrap it up here. We'll be back next week with our recap of the Emmy nominations. A day earlier, Wednesday afternoon. We'll be live on tape talking about the Emmy nominations.
What are you gonna change between now and then?
I'm just gonna ride or die with this. I can't think about it anymore.
I think the only thing I would change is just like Diane Lane, but I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. All right. We'll think about it. We'll be back next week, Joyce. I'll talk to you then. Bye.